All right, so we're underway. Welcome, Saturday, April 24th. We're on the third day of our cleanup efforts throughout the Cowichan Valley, including Shawnigan Lake. And our special guests today are litter heroes. We have Erin Greeves from Fisher Road Recycling, and she can walk us through the stuff that they take and how that works when we have waste, any kind of compost, any kind of items that we need to haul in. And in our last two community cleanups in 2018 and 2019, Fisher Road was such a huge supporter, and we just really want to honor that as we move forward and get other programs underway that our residents can feel empowered to look after our environment. So thank you. And speaking of residents and business people who feel empowered to look after environment, I am so delighted to welcome Ben Riel. He is a regular and also an inspiration for me as we work together on making a difference in the environment, and I hope to support him through the Rotary EcoClub. So thank you, Ben. And I invite you to share your backstory with us today after the announcement time when we get underway. So it would be really nice to be inspired by what you have to share. So right now I'm going to share my screen. Actually stop sharing the sound because I had music playing earlier. And now I will share our announcement roll. And that is, we'll go right to my screen actually. Share sound just in case. And click share. There's always lots of fun with the Zoom controls here. So going to our announcements today. That's our trash bingo for when we play later. And slideshow. And then Shift H to hide those little pesky gray boxes we get. That'll disappear in just a second. So thank you so much, everyone. Have fun in this Zoom meeting. You're very welcome to participate. Use the chat and your raised hand and reactions if at any time you'd like to ask a question, and kindly mute during our speaker portion. So today and every day, we acknowledge the traditional custodians of our lakeside and forest community, the Hokuminum speaking peoples who hunted and gathered in this area. We respect their care and connections to the land, to each other, and the places where we live now, work, and play. And because we're a part of Rotary, we also follow the four-way test down in the left-hand corner, so I'll read that out for you. Of the things we think, say, and do as we gather together as friends, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And will it be beneficial to all concerned? So thank you for helping us be people of action in exploring this topic today and connecting us to each other. Our announcements today: our club is growing. We grow vibrant leaders, and these are volunteers who are into believing that Rotary achieves new things. That's our acronym for the word vibrant. And membership is open to anyone who has an interest in community service. We're looking for people who would like to advocate for their environment, and for just $5 a week, we can empower you to belong both in Rotary International and to make a difference right here at home. So you can find out more at our website, shawniganrotaryeagleclub.ca, which is a part of our sponsor club, the Rotary Club of Duncan. As I mentioned in our opening remarks, we're in the middle of our community service action. So April is Clean Where You Are, and it's such a great feeling to be able to do this, even as we're freshly processing those travel restrictions. So you can actually be empowered to go out and explore your trails, your roads, and we have a number of people that have signed up to do that and to be supported. Right now in our talk today, we're going to feature the work of Fisher Road Recycling and Relax Collective, who are supporting our event. So thank you very much. Here is the scope of the places we could walk and look after. And we have at least one person, hopefully in every zone, who'll step up and help. You can see on the map, we're already starting to make a difference in connecting those people together and offering them the support they need. And as a Rotary member, it also covers you in terms of liability as well. So we like to be able to launch this and keep it going. Thank you so much, everyone, for supporting the Clean Where You Are Cowichan. I'm looking forward to all the stories. Many of them are at the Cleanup Cowichan Effort Facebook page. And there's even a mascot, a Chinook salmon, who's going around visiting the people who are, and especially the kids who are cleaning up. Thank you to all our partners below. And here's some of the groups on Facebook that you can follow for inspiration. I'm super excited to be a part of the Cowichan Valley cleanup effort. And through Rotary, there's also a number of people down in Poulsbo, Washington, called the Green Walkers, who are doing just what we're doing and helping pick up trash as they see it. I also talk with Mike Scotland at Community Cleanup in the UK, and Keep Britain Tidy, Litter Heroes is fantastic. So, and then just to reduce our consumption, it's good to follow sites like Reuse, Reduce, Reuse, Rethink, and others like it. I'm sure you can fill me in on what you follow for inspiration. And thank you again to Ed Weeb, who's with us from the Shawnigan Basin Society. He has a walk scheduled for May 1st, and hopefully we'll find pristine old growth to help inspire us to be custodians. So thank you, Ed. And I just want to ask you one question. You were saying that it's already filled up. So what can folks do if they go to the website? You don't have to speak it if you're not ready. I can keep going, not to worry. I just want to say too that our next meeting is May the 8th, and I will have stories about that walk and what we saw out there. And after our speakers today, we'll be playing a game called Trash Bingo. So I would like to invite you to play along, and we'll have some prizes. So in order to play, you'll want to think of your top 10 things you might find out there, whether you're on a walk along your street, or a walk in a parking lot, or a walk in the woods. What might you find? Think of your top 10 things, and you can always chat them to me privately, to the Kim Bernard that's logged into this call, or just keep them jotted down as we're talking, and then we'll start to play at the end. So thank you very much. At about quarter to 9 is when we'll start the game. So I will stop sharing my screen now and invite our speakers to fill us in on what we are all about today. And Erin, did you need me to designate you as a co-host so that you can share your screen if you have anything you'd like to show us at the Fisher Road site?
I don't actually have anything, no.
Okay,
I could walk through the website, but I don't have anything on my, unfortunately I'm calling it on my phone, so
okay, no
I can't
problem.
connect.
No problem. Let me know if I need to illustrate anything. I also do actually have one of these.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, it was from 2 years ago, but I can make it available on our website so that people can see what that's all about too.
Yeah, that would be lovely.
With the map. Okay, great. All right, Erin, it's all yours.
Yeah, so would you like me just to prefer to walk you through basically coming into Fisher Road, the things we accept, those kinds of things? Beautiful. Sure. So you'll walk in, or you'll drive into the yard, and they'll see the scale booth. There'll be 2 scales on either side. You'll go in, you'll ask the scale attendant what materials you're bringing in today. They typically will have these brochures as well, and they'll also have, they'll know of the materials accepted. But as you're walking into the yard, on the right-hand side, you will see a variety of bunkers. The first one starting with concrete, so concrete, rubble, rocks, those types of things. That all gets broken down and reused as those fill matter, so as concrete again, which is really neat.
I'll go to the website for you, Erin, so that you can
sure.
talk as we show that.
Sure.
Not to worry.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh, I think I'm still on my PowerPoint, that's why. Okay. Keep going. I didn't mean to throw you off your groove.
Oh, no, that's all good.
Okay.
It's nice to see it.
Okay. And the map and photos, that's where we are.
Yeah, so that's our lovely front end.
Yeah, here's the entrance right here.
Yep. Yeah, so the first bunker on the right-hand side, that was the concrete I was talking about. We also do accept drywall as well, but it obviously can't contain any asbestos or any stuff like that. But we do accept dated and new drywall. And there's also cardboard, which is under Recycle BC. There is household electronics. They're covered under product care, another stewardship. There is the wood bunker, which actually gets ground up and used as hog fuel.
Oh.
There is the metal, which goes to Williams Scrap. There is our oil center, which is actually BC used oil. So they go through and they recycle all the oil containers, the oil themselves, antifreeze, and they're able to basically, reuse all that material, which is really interesting. And then the sort shed, which is basically a transfer station. So we try to pull out as much recyclable material as possible. A lot of times we have customers come in and they say, well, I've got this and that, and I don't really have the time to go through it. So that's our job, is to actually go through and pull a lot of that recyclable material out, such as plastics, metal, any sort of electronics, basically anything that we can find that we can recycle, we pull out. So we try to make that our main mission, is being able to divert as much waste from the landfill as possible. And then we go on to our fridges, and I think, that was our residential waste. So typically that's just kind of your typical house garbage. Can't really go through and pull out food waste, but as much as we'd like to, it's not quite part of the, wouldn't be possible at this time. And then we go into fridges and freezers, which all the coolant and any sort of refrigerant is pulled out at a different facility, and then that material is recycled. And then we go into the paint center, which is under Product Care BC as well, and they actually are able to recycle a lot of that paint products as well, which is very nice. Then we go into our, what is that one? Sorry, I can't quite read it.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. No, it's all good. So our household recycling, that one's also under Recycle BC. So that includes a variety of recyclable items, such as other flexible packaging products. That's what it is. Film plastics, white styrofoam, colored styrofoam, cardboard, containers. Containers typically are mostly like consumable type products. So you have your typical yogurt containers or any sort of clamshell plastics, those types of things. We also do accept aluminum cans, such as soup cans or wet cat food cans, those kinds of things. And those all do get recycled as well. What else do we have in there? We've also got our glass area too, so that all gets broken down and recycled as well.
Oh yeah, that's great. That's part of the household recycling, this area?
Yeah. And one thing I'd really like to note, so the other film plastic, or the other flexible packaging products, that's a newer one. I believe it was in 2018 or 2019, I forget when it first came out, but it's a pilot project where they aren't able to actually pull out a lot of those recyclable plastics. So they actually are turning into a different alternative source. So they are actually able to break it down and compact it and turn it into a type of engineered fuel, which is very interesting. Whereas the film plastics, it's kind of, I like to say the difference between the film plastics and the other flexible plastics is the film plastics are typically one material and they're quite soft, whereas the other flexible plastics, they can contain multiple different types of plastics, such as, if you look at a Ziploc bag, you see at the top there that it's actually a different material that you close the baggie with than the actual bag itself. So I consider that a multi-plastic basically. So they're able to actually break that down and turn that into an alternative source.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And I see that you have this information at your site, and you're partnering with Merlin Plastics. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah, it's through Recycle BC. So Recycle BC, they come and take the products, and then they are partnered with the Merlin Plastics.
And it's so interesting to see the engineering process. Merlin gives us a few glimpses at their website, how the pellets are formed and graded and such.
Yeah, it's really innovative. It's interesting to see a lot of times you have these products, but you would like to be able to recycle them and turn them into something different. But a lot of times you kind of have to think outside of the box. So I'm really excited that this pilot project is going on, and I hope it continues.
Oh, fantastic. Should we pause now in case anyone has any questions about that aspect of the added value to some of this, what happens to what we bring in?
Sure.
Okay, I probably would need to, I don't see any raised hands, so just speak out if you do have a question.
Yeah, and I can continue on too if you like.
Sure. Yeah, go ahead, Erin, and we can always save it for the end too.
Sure. Yeah, so then the last thing would be our food waste. And as you know, that goes into our composting process, which turns into Class A compost. And yeah, I think let's see, what else is there?
So in your categories, do you want to speak to us about the compost process? I know that's something that it can be obviously hard to gauge through the seasons, how that all, how much you must have to adjust is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I can't say that I'm too knowledgeable about the nitty gritty details of it. But I know, yeah, as on the website, we do say, talk about, sorry, my cat is trying to climb on my lap. I'm trying to push him away. Yeah, so a lot of the times the food waste that we collect, well, all the time, all the food waste we collect, it goes into our primary composting area, and it gets basically the two feedstocks that are used for the compost are the food waste and yard waste. So the yard waste actually gets ground up into nice fine materials, and then it's mixed with the food waste. And then it goes through a variety of basically phases where the actual compost breaks down, and then it turns into, well, it matures, and then it kind of it goes through different stages as it ages, and then it gets eventually, once it reaches a maturity stage, then it gets moved outside.
Okay, so how long does that take? Kind of ballpark for us?
I don't know, actually. I'm sorry. I
Oh,
don't know
that's
that.
okay. It's one of the questions.
It takes a while. You know, it takes a while.
Okay, so we've covered a bit of the recycling. We've covered a bit of the household disposals. So these are some of the no charge materials that are covered.
Yes.
So walk us through like a typical homeowner who might have just small quantities of multiple things on this list. What should they prepare for as they plan to bring in their items? What's the most streamlined way?
Yeah, well, it's yeah, it's definitely good to have everything sorted ahead of time. Obviously, if you're aware of what can go where, it's nice to have that ahead of time, and then it's quite easy for you to do. But a lot of times we do have customers come in and they bring in their their big container, and we just go through it with them, and they just say, okay, this goes here, that goes there. But it's definitely beneficial to say, well, if you have all your recyclable containers and whatnot, then you know that can go in one bin. If you have your film plastics, that can go into one bin. So all these categories are broken down basically by which bin takes what. So if you're able to actually have it ready to go and have it separated before you come here, then it's a bit quicker too. You just have to put it in one spot, and then you put one in one spot, and then you're not having to sort through and try to figure out where everything goes. If you know, obviously.
And have you found, like, obviously I hear you guys are pretty busy these days, hey?
Yeah, especially unfortunately due to COVID-19 as well. It's been definitely very difficult for us to manage a lot of the intake, because we do have to adhere to obviously adhere to physical distancing and all those COVID regulations. So we've set up stations. So we like to set up 3 stations on the recycling side, 3 stations on the garbage disposal side, and then 3 stations on the yard waste side as well. And that unfortunately can cause a bit of a backlog, which is unfortunate. But yeah, if you're able to have a lot of your recycling or garbage needs separated ahead of time, then it definitely helps streamline the process. And then, yeah, you're not having to wait too long.
Good to know. Thank you.
Yeah.
There's a little button here called More. That kind of gets into the nitty gritty of why drywall is such an issue and what we need to know about the age of the drywall.
Yeah, I can go into that if you like.
Yeah, maybe just help us understand what some of the concerns might be.
Yeah, so obviously one of the largest concerns with a lot of demolition waste and drywall waste is the presence of asbestos. So Fisher Road cannot handle hazardous waste. So we have to be very diligent as to what materials coming into our yard. For example, when drywall enters the yard, we do have to see date stamps on it to ensure that it's 1990 or newer. If it doesn't have those date stamps, or it is older than 1990, then we do require asbestos testing done to it. And that's obviously, I can speak a little bit about asbestos, but I'm sure everybody's aware of how hazardous it is to your health and how dangerous it can be. So we have to be very careful as to protect other customers and protect our staff. So we have to be quite diligent on those processes.
Thank you, Erin. And just for everyone on the call and in the recording, I'd like to add that if you should come across an unknown quantity of drywall when you're out hiking or exploring our trails and roadsides, try not to touch it or disturb it, but take a photo. And once again, we can use the government reporting line, because then we can start to handle it in an appropriate and safe manner. And that's really important. And I'm going to ask Ben when it's his turn to share about some other demolition waste sites that he's come across and what he's had to wisely do to deal with that, and the adventures, hopefully, to fix the problem. Well, thank you, Erin. Is there anyone who would like to ask a question? I'm going to stop screen sharing now so we can see each other. Thank you, everyone. All right, and you can unmute now because we'll have a time of Q&A and we'll have Ben. Okay, so go ahead, Ben.
No, it was just that I had a question, or more so just a thing for when people do find drywall, because obviously it is kind of sad, but the legality of it a little bit comes down to a little bit of finders keepers when you do actually find it, in a sense. And with it being dated pre-1990 or however it may be, I've come across quite a bit of issues, and I've had to call the Ministry of Environment and Ministry of Transportation. And so it's like they don't even know really if you're picking up litter, if you even get some of those bags, what permit there would be for you to be able to bring it with you, because obviously transporting a hazardous waste can be a thing that's, if you get in an accident, then that becomes an issue on the highways and whatnot. And the local testing center, I forgot what it was called in Victoria, it's $35 a bag to get it tested. So if you find 10 bags, you know, have $350 to spend before you can even take it to a waste disposal center, of course, right? So that's why it's important to report stuff like that alongside with other hazardous waste, like unmarked chemical or unmarked chemical containers. You know, if the label's peeled off of something and you find a bottle of some sort of oil, I asked, I was like, so what do we do about that? And then they're like, even if it's hazardous, even if it's leaking into a stream, they're like, don't touch it and just leave it and report it. And we'll send a hazmat team to go get it, is what he said. And I was like, well, what if I'm up a logging road? You know, what about, I'm like, what do I do? What about this? What about that? And they're like, no, you don't touch it. Because too, when I asked, I was like, well, if I do go get it tested and I do bring it in, I was like, well, what happens then? They're like, well, for you to get it tested, we need the address of where it came from, and so we can tell if the house was pre-1990 or not. And I was like, well, if I find it in a logging road, do you want geo coordinates? Like, what do you mean? And so it's very important to just call and actually have like it picked up in an official capacity, just because if you go to pick it up yourself, that becomes a huge problem for you, and you might end up having to keep these bags, and they need to be double sealed in proper asbestos bags. So 2 full bags sealed over top of each other. And those bags obviously cost more than standard garbage bags. So it is quite a hassle for anybody who's litter picking. So that's one of the big things that, like, we have a safety plan that we give to all the volunteers. One of the things we have to say is, like, if you're not sure about it, just don't touch it, leave it. If you're uncomfortable, I'll leave it and we'll report it, and somebody who has the capacity to take it will.
Thank you. In the chat, I've included the report line for the web form, and we try to make that just an example time after time of any stories that we share online, so that people know that it's probably wise to involve, to bring in the reinforcements at that stage and get expert advice. So thank you very much. Now, if it's all right with everyone, I'd like to segue into your portion, Ben, and we'd love to hear from you and how your company got started, how your mission got started, really. And if you like, you can, I'm going to make you a co-host and you can share whatever you like. There you go.
I'm just looking for the screen share button, right? Oh, there it is, share screen. Okay. 1 sec. I'm gonna pull up my website here in the background, just so you guys can know. Okay, there we are. Okay, so my name's Ben Riel, obviously. I'm part of Relax Collective. It was a kind of an initiative I started. I live out in Shawnigan Lake, and I live out near the Kinsel Trestle. And I've noticed like an increasing amount of waste showing up on our trails, showing up on our roadsides. Like, for instance, me and my girlfriend went and did a litter pick just from my house to the Trans Canada Trail, which is only like a kilometer-long stretch, and we filled up 3 bags of garbage out of the ditch, and that's even a place where, technically highway does come through and still clean up. So, start to think about the areas that hadn't been done. And what really started it for me is I used to race motocross. I know, ironically enough, being an environmental company coming from that, but you sow your own roots. And I never got to, like, I used to be able to ride pretty well anywhere I wanted out in the back area, and now almost 3/4 of the trails are dug out, big gates put up because, so many people didn't respect the land. And that's kind of been a little bit of a disappointing thing, because it's, we live all the way out here in this beautiful pristine area, and we're losing more and more access to things that are right in our backyard. And it's just kind of sad, honestly. And the more litter you see out there, the more people are inclined to continue dumping, because they're like, well, there's already all this waste out here, it doesn't matter what I do. And so I really wanted to kind of change the perspective on that, and start working towards cleaning up the community. So how I started doing it was, as I just started doing litter picks and stuff myself, and with like a buddy or two. And then I was just realizing that the problem was so much bigger than what me or 2 or 3 or 4 or even 10 people could handle. So I was like, okay, well, I need to do something in an official capacity to actually make it happen, make it work, and make an impact. So this is my website here. We do all of our screen printing in-house in Shawnigan Lake. I have my own screen printing shop here, so that's something I've been very proud of. Say like, our products are designed and made in Canada, and we're cleaning up in Canada. That's been the biggest thing for me. It's been a very big learning curve, to say the least. And well, as anybody knows who starts their own endeavor, you immediately bite off more than you can chew, and then you play catch up for the rest of the time, because you're like, oh, it's it's just t-shirts, it's just hoodies, and then you realize the actual magnitude of what a screen printing shop requires. So what we did for this cleanup effort over the Earth Week is we had people come through our site and go through the get in touch line, where they could just sign up and just put their name, their email, and then where they wanted to pick up stuff. Because one of the biggest challenges that we've had, A, for sales, and B, for cleanup efforts, is there's been no gatherings, there's been no events. And that's been a big struggle for me, because obviously you can promote a lot on social media and stuff, but we're reaching actually a lot of problems with social media, because when we go to promote our posts get flagged and taken down because they're considered too political, and all it's saying is it's like picks on how, or tips on how to pick up litter, and how to, you know, like where you can register to come join litter cleanups, or it's just a picture of somebody wearing our hoodie and we're like, oh, this hoodie cleans up 1 pound of waste, and then it's like flagged, no, you're too political, you can't post this, you can't push this through. And it's like, you know, I get advertisements of kids shotgunning beers and doing flips and breaking tables on my feed, and I'm like, but I can't tell people, you know, go pick up litter, because that's too political. And that's something I personally disagree with, because I think it's a cultural issue, not a political issue. And I know those are intertwined, but at the same time, you know, we all drive on the right side of the road here without thinking about it. You know, you brush your teeth before you go to bed without thinking about it. Why is this something that's so, you know, out there for people to think about, but it's something that everybody complains about? So that's been a big challenge. But, you know, being able to have people register, and then like and be able to continue an ongoing relationship, and then when people go do litter picks, I'm offering up the service. And it's not just for this event, it's going to be continued throughout the year. If you can prove you're out picking up litter, I'll come pick up the waste so you don't have to deal with it, just because I want to make it as easy, as accessible for everybody as possible. And I think that's what the big thing is it's not about a little group of people doing a lot, it's about a big group of people doing a little. And that's what's going to make the biggest difference, I believe, personally, in the community. And two, you know, if people see people cleaning up litter all the time, eventually you're going to start feeling guilty about hucking something out your window. Like I was just actually here, and I was thinking like how much of a shame it is, because I wanted to go scope out, because we had the best problem ever, but the Shawnigan Lake School cleaned up so much of Shawnigan that I had to reorganize all my volunteers for today. So I scoped out some new areas to bring them, but I'm like pulling up right to where the Kinsel Trestle is, and there's like KFC packets on the ground, and I'm trying to think, I was like, the nearest KFC is Langford. I'm like, I can't even think about one in Duncan. Maybe there is, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's just a shame when people literally drive out of towns where there's infrastructure, where there's garbage cans, where there's things, and they wait till where it's never going to get cleaned up and where it's going to get picked through by an animal, and they're like, okay, this is the place for my litter to rest, you know. And that's always been a big thing that's got shocked me, because I'm like, why here? Why was this the place that you guys decided to toss everything out? It doesn't make sense, but it's there, and there needs to be something done with it. So I've actually partnered up with the Youth 2020 Can Cowichan. They're a youth group, a part of Volunteer Cowichan, and they've been awesome, because there's a lot of, you know, young people that have been wanting to do something about it, but obviously it's very hard for you to go out and do something on your own. But it's like, for instance, if you wake up and you're like, I'm going to do a run at, you know, 6 a.m. tomorrow, you wake up at 6 a.m., your bed's warm, you're like, well, I don't have to go. But if you message somebody and you're like, yo, let's go for a run at 6 a.m., meet me, I'll come pick you up. Well, when your alarm goes off, you have to go get them. You can't just let them sit out. And that's that motivation that will get more people to clean up, I believe. And that's what we've always done. And I really think that, you know, it's been awesome, because it was, you know, one person, and then it was 2 people, and then it was 5, and now it's 10, and now we're doing community-wide cleanups and stuff. And, you know, yesterday I had my phone blown up, people calling from Chemainus that were doing cleanups, and people that were calling in Duncan, people calling in Cow Bay, people in Cobble Hill. And it's like, it's a relieving feeling to see that it's actually getting, you know, moved forward, and people do care, and it's not just people complaining and doing nothing about it. So pretty much how I've made it work is, our business model is, for every article of clothing we sell, or every product we sell, we clean up 1 pound of waste. So like we've made upcycled cotton face masks that we cut and sewed and tied at those, and that was pain in the butt. We have, you know, 100% recycled canvas tote bags, crew necks, hoodies, shirts, whatever it may be. And I know 1 pound of waste per piece of clothing does seem kind of low, because you know how fast garbage weighs up, but we are cleaning way above that. And that's just, I wanted to keep something easy and tangible for people. And I want to start tackling issues with like invasive species and stuff as well. But that's there's a lot of red tape around that. So I'm going to go one step at a time. And do what I'm allowed to do. And what that is right now is litter picking. And that's what we're really trying to tackle. my next step for my business is I just had a bunch of new professional equipment come in, and I want to actually do custom branding services for other companies. And then every article of clothing I print for your company, I'll clean up 1 pound of waste. And then you can advertise that you are working alongside and your company is helping, you know, the litter picking initiative that's happening in Canada right now. Because you know, when one person buys, you know, 3 or 4 things, yes, David is also he's a guy from Fernwood, and he has been doing cleanups. You guys remember him from 2 weeks ago at the last interview, or sorry, in the last Zoom meeting. But I've wanted to do stuff for companies because, you know, 1/3 of the environmental issue is the consumer and 2/3 of the issue is companies. So if companies can start, you know, making choices that are more sustainable, we're actually going to tackle the problem a lot more. So that's what I want to do. So I'll print for other companies, and then that'll be much larger mass orders, you know, of, you know, 500 garments, you know, to, you know, 200 garments, 1,000 garments, whatever it may be. And that's a much bigger toll or tally to go get. And that'll make me very happy, because then they'll show that not only is it the community members that are getting that, but the businesses are also starting to take responsibility too. I think that's about it for my spiel. I actually have to be taken off right quick. I have a bunch of waste to go get from the
I
Shawnigan.
totally anticipated that, Ben. So
Yes,
I really
yes.
just want to thank you for being part of our story today and our Zoom call, which I know will have impact beyond what you can imagine. And that's my promise, is to support people like you who are wanting to make a difference, and together we can. So thank you.
Thank you guys. I appreciate everybody continuing to come out and continuing to support. You know, it's been the biggest thing. Like, it's hard to get the word out now, obviously, without events and stuff anymore. So, you know, these Zoom calls are important to me, and it's good just to show that, like, you guys aren't alone, and it's not only, you know, governing bodies' responsibility to handle this. Like, it's the people's, and it's especially it's the businesses too. And I want to show that a business can be profitable and environmentally sustainable, and that's the only reason that's holding everything up, is like, oh well, we'll make less money, we don't want to, you know, deal with all of these extra tasks and, you know, labor issues that we have to have. But my goal is to turn that thought process around and be like, no, you can do it, and you can make a livelihood off of it, and you can protect the community that you're around. And hopefully I can do that, and hopefully we can start making an impact greater than, you know, just the island and just Canada, right? So one day.
Yeah,
one day.
Awesome. And Ben, already Crystal and her husband have come across a bulky item site, so I'll encourage her to use your get in touch page as well if you want to scope it out later. And she's just asking if you have any areas that you need more people at today.
We're actually good. The thing is we have 10 volunteers going out, and I have them spread out. Just with public health orders getting shrink wrapped a little bit, I'm trying to keep people, like, you know, not away, but if you have any
apart,
places like apart physically apart, it's like, well, we have a meeting spot, and it's going to be like 2 people come up, like, grab your stuff, go, get out here, go. So that's what we've been doing. But again, like, if you ever even just go pick up litter around your neighborhood, go walk outside of your house, go do a loop, and then drop me your address line, just register on the website and let me know, and just take a picture of the cleanup you did, or like a little video, so we can post it and say, like, look at what our community members are doing. And then because that's the most important thing. It's education, and it's getting the word out, and it's letting people know, it's like, no, we are doing this, and it's not just a handful of people, it's the majority. And that's how you, and not to say it, but it's peer pressure, and you need that peer pressure to do better, right? So just let me know if you clean up wherever. There's no spots in particular that come to my mind, but even just cleaning up the roadsides and stuff, that's important. Like Bill, the guy who rides the bike, he picks up beer cans and stuff. I threw him a hoodie, and he's like, you don't need to do this, I don't pick litter, I just pick beer cans. And I was like, well, beer cans are litter, man. I'm like, there was something that was in the ditch that should have been in a bin, and I was like, and you're taking it from the ditch and putting it in the bin, so it's good enough for me. Anyways,
thank you. We'll let you go.
Yeah, okay.
And besides, you would have had an unfair advantage in the bingo game, so
Yeah. Okay.
You would have
Alrighty.
aced
Thanks,
it.
guys.
All right. Take
Okay.
care, Ben
Cheers.
and Casey.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye. All right. Well, I just get so inspired. Does anyone want to comment now that Ben's shared? Feel free to unmute. If not, I'm going to share my screen. And if you've been thinking of those top 10 things you might come across when you're litter picking, this should be amusing. If we were playing for big stakes, I would ask you to privately send me your list through the chat, but I think we're just having this as an educational exercise. I do, however, have prizes. I do have stickers and I have cookies, which I'm making sure all of our volunteers get a little taste of Shawnigan, just to let them know how much they are appreciated, and so I can spread that effort at contacting and support over the week. So not to worry. Let me share my screen again, and we will get started with the bingo, because it's kind of fun. I hope it's fun. All right. And current slide, yeah. All right, so trash bingo. Well, one of the most common items is going to be our free square in the middle. So how many of you had this item? Feel free to unmute so I know I'm not alone going through this exercise. How often do we come across these, and what types do you see, and how, when in various stages of disintegration, and yet they don't? They're actually have plastics and other toxins in them. So that's your bonus square. The next one, pop can. So Ben mentioned that one, and I believe the beer can also. So we had to spread those apart because those are giveaways as well. Empty bottle, it could be anything. We found a few. Candy wrapper. A chips bag. Still no bingo. Those are too easy. A bottle cap. You can see in the photo there, I found a $20 bill at Mason's. That was fun. Of course, we spent it at Mason's later. Takeout containers, oh my goodness, during COVID, they're everywhere, in Shawnigan especially. So I hope we can do better by raising awareness. A single-use mask. Lost glove. I came across 2 of these yesterday walking through the beach estates. Has anyone else ever come across a tea bag?
Oh, that's a unique one.
Okay. I'm just watching my screen too to make sure it's not freezing too much. I'm actually just forwarding it manually with an arrow key here. Broken glass is a real problem up at the Elsie Miles field. I know that Mo has put out an SOS, just like, why are people doing this? It's not safe for the kids during the daycare time. And so I'm trying to make that part of my weekly route as well. A paper napkin. These were all along Shawnigan Mill Bay Road yesterday. Plastic bag, classic, still no bingo. All right, a printed flyer. Do we have anyone under the T and B for a straight line? I'll keep going. A foil wrapper. Ketchup packet. That's fun. You find these a lot. And unfortunately, it's not funny because they're absolutely not compostable. Although they are making them out of different materials. I heard seaweed is a potential for sauce packets. Twist ties, a used Band-Aid, yuck. Now this one, a stuffed animal, was actually a happy story that I wanted to end our meeting today on, is that you can find things that reunite people. And this little girl had lost her stuffy in the village in October, and I found it sitting on a bush just waiting for her. And it happened to be her birthday that weekend. And so it was just, I still am just so stoked to go out litter picking if I feel like I can reunite someone with their lost item. Lost sock, maybe not so precious. I think it's already been given up, but a stuffed animal, definitely. Broken glasses, I posted this week. If anyone is missing their glasses, I do have a pair, but it's not the expensive Prada sunglasses that Brad Patterson is still looking for. So keep your eyes open along the roads from Discovery to Mill Bay. a hair tie for a straight across line there. Fabric mask. I actually found a camouflaged one, which was really quite exciting. And last but not least, a used straw. That was probably the most common thing. So all of you who played today, I will absolutely make sure I get you a sticker and some cookies at some point. With special thanks to our guest speakers. Erin, I would love to make sure you get some cookies too. So I'm going to stop the share now. Thank you for considering that litter can be rewarding in the sense that you feel good and you're sort of keeping a mental tally of the types of things so that we can trace them back to the source and find out if there's a way we can prevent it to begin with. Now that it's 8:50, we have just a few minutes left, and this is a time typically in Rotary when we share our either happy or sad bucks. And what it does in a typical club, and we're not a typical club, by the way, so relax, you can breathe easy. In a typical club, members are, if they want a turn to share, then they have to pay some money called a fine, and it goes towards the club coffers. But for our sake in the EcoClub, we believe in supporting locals. So anything that you share today, I just encourage you to go and spend it in the community. Go support your favorite coffee shop or any other retailer, and especially takeout and small business owners today who are really struggling with the restrictions. So would anyone like to share their happy or sad? We are here for you.
I'll start. Yeah, I would just like to say it's, as you said before, how inspiring Ben is and the work that he's doing and what an innovative both business idea combined with his personal passion, I think is a super happy to see a young person so passionate and excited and making a difference in their community for everyone else. So that would be mine.
Thank you.
Well, actually, Ben today inspired me to, I run a figure skating club as well as being with the SLCA. And I would like to inspire our kids because we want to be part of the community. I want them to feel connected to the community as part of our club, but also the greater area. And I would like them to think about maybe going to help clean up their areas in Shawnigan Lake and Mill Bay and Cobble Hill, where the skaters come from. And I think it would be great to expand their horizons with being having been brought to their attention.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And Ben hopefully will be part of our executive with the EcoClub and having access to even more environmental resources and support for homeschooling families and the whole holistic way of we can support our young people. So thank you, Betsy. Ed.
Yes, I don't know whether this counts, but I just wanted to share that I and 3 other people walked on Mount Say yesterday, and there's very little garbage there because obviously people pick up after themselves or monitor it. In fact, we did meet somebody who was walking most of the trails quite often and just makes sure that everything is in good shape trail-wise and also garbage-wise. But just I wanted to mention right now, if you're interested in the flower reserve that's there, the flowers are just coming on, and lots of shooting stars, orchids, and there's a lot of other flowers there right now. It's a great place to visit.
And Ed, can you tell us again where to find that, or can I put a link in the chat for us?
Okay, Mount Salem, if you go through the
okay,
the properties, and up right to the top, there's a parking lot. I forget the name of the streets now. I go there often, but I'm so familiar with it, I don't look at the street signs anymore. But anyway, you go up to a parking lot that's at the top of the properties on off of Maple Bay Road,
Okay.
There's
I've just pulled up a couple things, so I'll put that in the chat for us. This is the official listing for the area, the ecological reserve there. And I will also grab the location map, which is at the same site. There's a detailed map actually of the whole ecological reserve. This is quite exciting. I didn't really know this was here before.
one thing to watch for. There's many of those trails are designated as bicycle trails, mountain bike trails. So there are signs that tell you which ones to not walk on, because chances are a bicycle will come downhill and won't be able to stop if you're in the trail. So that's a little bit of a thing to watch for over there.
Okay, excellent. The site is a little slow to load, so I will just go back and see if we can just show what it all entails. It's pretty amazing, actually. But Mount Zuhalem, access through the properties. That's my takeaway point, is that perhaps there's signage there that we can follow.
Oh yes, there's good signage. In fact, let me just, there's something called that they've just done now is North Cowichan has put a lot of signage up there.
Excellent.
And interpretation. So
okay.
You'll find that very interesting.
Well, thank you. That's a new place for me to explore. That's a happy for sure. I'll just put my happy on with that one. Okay. Thank you. Karen, would you like to share today with us as well? And then Erin, I hope you will finish us off with your happy and or sad. So thank you. Sounds like you're all stoked, Karen, and inspired. I'm so glad you're with us today. Karen's just put that in the chat. So thank you so much, Karen. Erin, go ahead. Would you like to finish this off today?
I guess in a lot of the recycling processes at Fisher Road Recycling, I must say definitely one of the ways that I definitely get enjoyment out of my position is being able to educate the public, and especially inform a lot of customers on what happens to a lot of the products and how they're recycled. A lot of times people will say, well, I know that I can recycle it, but I don't really know what happens to it. For example, the other flexible packaging products, the multi-plastics. I must say, I really, it's definitely very enlightening and very joyful for me to be able to explain to them that no, actually your products do get recycled and they do get reused, and there is hope for more innovative solutions in the future.
Thank you. That is a happy. And I will let you know too that on the US side of the border in Poulsbo, Washington, there is an EcoClub through Rotary that collects bales of soft plastics, and through a company called Trex, after several tonnage, I believe, is collected. So it can take weeks or months to do it, but they turn it into a buddy bench. And it's really exciting to have these buddy benches installed around the community, knowing that they were collected and brought into life by people reusing and reducing their waste.
Yes, gives us all hope.
Yeah, so we're hoping that manufacturers on the Canadian side will be able to pick up that example in that program and help us out. So I'm cheering on Merlin Plastics and Fisher Road Recycling, and looking forward to hearing good things in the future. And we would love to spotlight anything you can share with our club in future. So once again, our website is Shawnigan Rotary EcoClub.ca. Membership information is there, and we're looking to connect as many people as possible in the community to be stewards for their environment. So thank you all. I'm going to keep the call open because I need to save the chat and save the recording, but I just want to thank you all for joining us today, and feel free to find this information later on YouTube. And I want to thank our partners with our litter efforts, because everything that you do to encourage people is making a big difference. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, thank you.
I'll stop recording.